Good morning, guys. Once again, welcome to Career Counseling Online's Morning Vibes. Well, today we are going to talk about, you know what, the power, we had a major power failure and the Wi Fi wasn't working. I woke up late and the coffee machine wasn't working, and I was, uh, I was trying to read something. I was planning to come for you guys with something meaningful. And you know what? The lockdown has also been extended, and it's getting pretty uh, monotonous, being stuck in the home. Now, for you guys, you must be wondering what the hell is wrong. I mean, we are watching you, so why is it that you're talking all this nonsense? If I continue this for another minute, I'm sure all of you would be gone, right? So, what the point is, it's the exact scenario which happens with your director, your boss, or the management. When you, as an employee or as a team member, beat around the bush without coming to the point. It might have happened many a times while working on escalations. Something pops up, and you try to approach the director or your reporting authority, and you find that there is a meeting going on with him or her. You walk away and you work on other things, and after half an hour you try to approach him or her again to find that he is having his coffee. You are hesitant, you don't feel comfortable, you think of giving him or her 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and after that uh, get engaged in replying that email which has popped up again in your mailbox. And then finally, after 45 minutes, you try to again approach your director or your reporting authority just to find that he's on the Skype call, he's on a meeting. Now, finally, after a long time, you approach the person, and by that time, it might have got a bit late. Escalation might have piled up, things might have piled up, more mails might have come up, and things are getting very, very out of hand. What happens is you are actually stressed out. So many a time when this kind of situation arrives or happens around you, you will find yourself rushing into the room of your director or your manager or your reporting authority and talking a lot like, sir, the server went down, this so happened, there is a major escalation, there is this a customer who has written this, and Steve has reported this. I was talking to Nancy over the phone, things are down on London and so on. Now, you might be aware, very much aware, that by this time your boss is looking pretty confused. And if you continue that, very soon he looks pretty irritated. Like the irritation pops up, and if you continue, dare to, for another minute, you will find him literally shouting at you, like, stop beating around the bush. Tell me what's going on. Tell me what the escalation is. Tell me what is not working. Why have you come to me? What feedback you are asking me for, or what kind of reply you want from me? What is it that you have come here for? And then you finally realize that you might have said, a lot of points to make him understand the significance of the issue, the gravity of the situation, and the impact which it might be having on the business. But the main thing is you might not have mentioned the actual cause or actual reason for which you have come to meet him or her. It could be a one liner that the server is down, nothing is working. You need to understand your director or your boss is in their position because of their analytical thought process, because of their decision making, because of their sharp intellectual and their bent of mind in handling escalation. The moment you say the issue, they can immediately understand the kind of impact it has on the business, the kind of impact it has on the customer experience, the kind of impact it's going to do in terms of technicality, and what are the kind of difficulties that internal employees might be facing. So he might be having just four set of instruction: get back to the technical team, write a mail to the customer, call up the server maintenance team, and send a wait mail to those who are already in the queue. So you see how good it is, how fast, how smooth, how like easy it is when you just mention the point for what you have approached him or her. What it makes in this situation is it gives the director or your boss the insight of what is happening. He thinks about it, she thinks about it, and gives you a set of instruction which might stop further damage, which might control further impact, negative impact in the business world. So that is what the topic of today's discussion is. Stop beating around the bush, come to the point while reporting any incident or a challenge. Now, how does that happen? When you are an employee, you need to understand a couple of things. When you are working in a team, it is you who's contributing, and the whole team's contribution is a cumulative effort which gives an impact on the business, which gives an impact on the customer experience. Now, when you are facing a challenge, if you take time in reporting the challenge, if you take time in thinking about it, see, thought process needs to be done, but the reporting has to be done first. When that reporting happens from your side promptly, you actually can have much better instruction to follow, to do the damage control, to get back to the client, to work on the technical issues, right? So it is very important for you to be a strategic thinker yourself, because when you are thinking strategically, you are contributing towards controlling and to a certain extent minimizing the damage or the negative impacts. So when you are an employee, see, every organization has teams. Now I'm not talking about every team. I'm talking about those core strategic teams which are considered as the think tanks of an organization. As an employee, if you're serious about growing within the organization, you should take every effort to be into that team so that you can, along with them, learn to think strategically. You have a strategic bent of mind, you have an analytical bent of mind, but you will have much better scope when you are in the core team. The core team always are the ones who are driving the motion. So as an employee, be among the right people. It is very important that you are among those strategic thinkers, those strategic analytical minds which are driving the operation, which are driving the organization. Because when you are with them in the team, you can guarantee oneself one thing for sure, that you will be learning a lot through observing. You will be learning a lot through following up the instruction. You will be learning a lot through being an implementer when they ask you to implement the set of instructions which they have already strategically thought of, well thought of. And when you are implementing this, you will be able to understand the strategic bent or the strategic mind frame behind those instructions. What will it do is you will become a strategic thinker in the due course, and your growth in the higher direction in the strategic team will be guaranteed, and you can assure yourself of a fantastic career within the organization. Now when we are talking about that, being among the right people, it is also very important that you gain that vision to be constantly in that team, because you need to understand one thing: people who are on the hierarchy taking decisions, they are there because of their intellect, they are there because they have a very sharp understanding of the situation, they have a very very analytical mind frame. Now when you are in the team, you should take, no matter how educated you are or no matter how much experience you have, you need to understand one thing: every organization's strategic move or every organized strategic thinking is different. So even if you're coming to this team with 20 years of work experience or 30 years of work experience, you need to understand one thing: who are already strategically thinking on behalf of the present organization, they have a much higher uphand in terms of understanding operation, in terms of understanding the customer, in terms of understanding the business impact, and how internal employees impact the external customers. So you need to understand one thing, that no matter, even if you have a huge lot of experience in handling team, in handling strategic projects and so on, you need to gain that right vision as is needed for that particular organization, because that organization might be working in a different kind of parameters, protocols, countries, cultural aspects and so on. So a lot of things might be different. If you come with a pre-assumption thinking that you already know strategic thinking, strategic way of analyzing situation, you might go wrong, in the sense that one size does not fit all. Whatever you were doing successfully in the last organization, which had only, let's say, two outlets or 20 outlets, can never match the kind of operation which is operating 200 outlets across 20 countries. Now that whole thing, the change in the time zone, the change in the geographical location, the change in cultural aspect, differing from country to country, makes the whole operation a complete new ball game for you. So you need to gain that vision, that strategic way of looking into things, and then only you will be able to learn and be in the strategic team. Now how do you gain that vision? It's very very easy. Once you're in the strategic team, you need to understand one thing: the minds which are already working, the minds which are already on the thought process or analytically thinking about the betterment of the project, the movement of the project, the new ventures, the new products. See, they already are in sync with what the organization vision and mission is. Now, if you are a new person, if you are a new joinee, if you are an employee who has been promoted, even you might be in that organization for 10 years, then you finally get moved into the strategic team. But you need to understand that 10 years that you have spent in the organization was in a department which was not doing that strategic thinking. Maybe they were implementing the instructions. Now when you are implementing and when you are making those strategic policies, strategic thinking, it's completely different. Just because you were implementing or executing those instructions doesn't mean that you have already become a strategic thinker. That strategic thinking, that timely thinking, that analytical bend of mind requires time to grow. Now how do you do that? When you're an employee, be in touch with your boss, be in touch with your director, be in touch with your reporting authority, because many a times employees drift away from the vision which their leaders are sharing. So you need to keep in touch with your leaders constantly, your boss, your director. You need to know what's going on within the organization, what's the company's position in terms of international market, how it is doing in the competitors market. See, when that kind of growth happens all around, you understand one thing, what kind of questions to be asked to your boss or the director, so that you can have a feedback and you can work on those. Right now, when that happens, when you're constantly in touch, see, the boss, the director, or the reporting head also understands that this guy is taking initiative, this guy is proactive, he's looking into customer experience, he's looking into solving technical issues, but at the same time he is also interested in business development, how our organization is doing. So you will be obviously at the back of their mind whenever they are thinking of taking somebody in, onboarding somebody into the strategic department, or into the strategic group, or into the strategic team. Now you need to touch base always, you need to be in touch with them, so that you are on the same page along with your boss, along with your reporting authority, because they are the ones who are more in touch with the vision mission of the organization, because they are the ones who are doing the meetings with the stakeholders, the directors and so on. And yes, you also do it, but the kind of meeting that a director would have with you is not the same kind of meeting that the same director would be having with your reporting boss or reporting authority. Now, when you are constantly following them up, when you are constantly in touch with them, what happens is, along with your present job, you also know all the kind of thought process which is going on in the organization's mindset. When I mean the organization's mindset, it means the stakeholders, the directors, and the decision makers. When you are thinking of your work, at the same time when you are in touch with the boss, you come to know about the kind of new product which is in line, the new kind of products which might bring more escalations, the kind of workload which might increase. Accordingly, you can plan also your work. So when you are in touch with your boss, when you are in touch with your director, in terms of how the organization is planning the growth, how the organization is planning for the new ventures, collaboration, how the organization is planning for the new products, you literally upgrade yourself from your present position to a much more better position, wherein you are considered as that resource who is proactive, who is taking interest into the company's growth, and somebody who understands that his own growth is directly proportional to the growth of the organization. So that kind of resource is always appreciated and liked by the management, and it is obvious when the next move comes for onboarding somebody into the strategic team, they will consider you for that. So you being an employee, first thing, you need to make sure that you are in the right team. You should work hard. You should try to learn through observing your boss, through your directors and others, and try to be in that core team, which is the think tank of the organization. Because when you make your way into that team, you can be guaranteed of a wonderful career growth. You can be guaranteed of a wonderful growth in terms of professionally also, and at the same time you can ensure that you will be learning a lot. And second point is, gain that vision. Just being in the team is not enough. Just having this attitude about you that I come with the 20-25 years of experience, I know it all, is not going to work. You need to understand the core vision of that particular strategic team, who is thinking, who is working on alignment to the vision and mission of the present organization. So you need to gain that vision also, and gaining vision is very easy. It could be only through being in touch with your boss, your directors, your reporting authority. When that kind of life cycle develops within the organization, the only thing that could be assured on terms of the organization is revenue generation and growth, and in terms of your personal growth is promotion, reward, recognition, and more trainings, more learning, and a scope to grow within the organization. So it's like a mutual symbiosis, which I always mention. So as an employee, you should work towards being a part of the whole core organization. Now that can only happen when you are thinking, speaking, and acting without beating the bush around, being on the point, keeping it short and simple, being specific, and being, yesterday we mentioned, faster decision makers are the best leaders. So strategically thinking, to the point, mentioning about the situation, and working on implementation of the instructions. That is one way you can ensure your growth within the organization. So being an employee, stop beating around the bush, keep it to the point, and grow within the organization. With that note, today I wrap up this morning session of Morning Vibes, and we meet again tomorrow. By the way, tomorrow is 3rd of June, and we have the mindset episode 3 at 7 p.m. IST, and we are going to talk to a very interesting entrepreneur, Mr. Pallab Datta, who is a corpus fund management consultant and an investment management, and who started up his startup in the year 2014, and his organization is startup is running very successfully. He is handling a couple of very high profile clients for Kolkata and other metropolitan cities, and he will be with us to share his journey, to share his dreams, aspirations, his fears, and his way of getting through with his initiative, growing along with, from a profile change to a management role, to founding his company, to the journey, to the darkness of the mind, to finding out himself, finding one own true self. So we will be talking to Pallab tomorrow, 7 p.m. IST. Do join us for that watch party, and it will be a very, very interactive one, I can assure you. And we expect you there with full participation. We will have enough scope to learn new things. We will have enough scope to understand our personal management through fund management and more. I'm not going to reveal any more. Be there tomorrow 7 p.m. sharp. So as I end always with this fond favorite line of mine, and the mantra of mine is learn, contribute, and evolve.